Hi everyone, it's Genevieve from Kangaroo Time. Thank you so much for watching the recording of our webinar right now. At Kangaroo Time, we create software for childcare centers. We're an all-in-one solution that helps centers grow their business, connect with their families, and effectively manage their staff members. Our software will help you automate your entire business, including payments, billing, check-in and check-out for children, keeping track of staff hours. We also do classroom automation, and this gives your teacher prompts while they're in the classroom to update parents on feedings, diaper changes, and developmental milestones. And it really hardwires the parents into the early education experience, and they get a beautiful feed of content right on their smartphones. So if you're looking for billing and a payment solution, a parent app, or staff scheduling, contact Kangaroo Time today. Thanks so much and enjoy the webinar.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? I'm going to do the obligatory. Where are you coming in from? Beth, how's the weather in Dallas?
It's chilly but sunny outside. It's a beautiful sunny day. It's just a little cold. Well, I say cold. I think it's in the 50s, which is cold for us. But we did have snow actually. We had a teeny tiny little bit of accumulation on Sunday. So that was beautiful to get to see. First time in 6 years.
I saw that. And then my brother is in Austin. All my family's in Dallas, and they got just a dust, a little bit. In Austin, they got like buffalo type snow. So not really. I mean,
I was going to say, I don't know if it's buffalo type snow, Scott. That might be a little generous with the description. But it was white. It made the grass white for about a minute.
It was pretty though. Some pretty pictures. All right, so everybody, welcome. We'll get started here in just a moment. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about a couple of things. For those of you that don't know, my name's Scott Wayman. I'm the founder and CEO at Kangaroo Time. We love putting on webinars for early educators. And we love doing them with partners like Beth Cannon. She's an international speaker, workshop presenter, and entrepreneur. But before we get into handing over to Beth, a little bit about Kangaroo Time. We know a lot of you are new. We always get new attendees with every webinar. Love to acquaint you with what we do at Kangaroo Time. We're a software company for childcare centers, and we help you optimize your businesses. And for all of you right now, if you look at the jobs report that was just put out for December, if you look out at some of the recent reporting on early education, that there are 4.5 million childcare spots that are at risk. Guys, I see an excellent time for really executing and some big opportunity. And if you do the math, 4.5 million spots in childcare that have either gone away or have temporarily kind of just disappeared because we all know that your enrollments have gone down a bit. I think they come roaring back this year. There's so much upside in 2021, and we're very excited to be a part of it. So if at all, I'll touch on our software later. If you're looking to optimize your business, please reach out to us. On the community side, when COVID started, we reached out to Beth and Holly Alyssa Bruno and Vernon Mason and a number of thought leaders in the space and said, we want to bring community together. We want to bring our customers, folks that we know, those that we can advocate for in the early education community. And a big part of that has been what we're doing with KT Childcare Connect. If you haven't joined it, please join it. It's free to join. Here in the coming days, we're going to be doing some more content on PPP draw number 2 and a number of the grant opportunities. Also, a number of the employee retention credits. We'll be bringing some content to KT Childcare Connect, and Genevieve, hopefully another video, another webinar. Also, for those of you that have not joined our YouTube channel, please join. There's an embarrassment of wealth here. We've got only 344 subscribers. Please, everybody, join here. Every time we put content on our YouTube channel, you'll get a little alert. You'll get some notification, and we'd love to hear your feedback. Also, we'd love for you to join our blog. Genevieve and our marketing team, our content team, have done an amazing job of consistently posting really great, differentiated content. I know there's so many content providers that put this fluffy stuff out there, but these guys are doing some really interesting things, and they're offering you some free tools weekly on our blog. And I'm super proud of the work that Marissa and Genevieve and our team have done to provide content. Guys, for some housekeeping, you do receive certificates if you sign up for this session and you show up. We get the emails all the time from people that are validating them. But please don't email us. If you are here, we will send you a certificate that confirms that you were here. If you have questions during the content that as Beth is presenting, please click in the Zoom user interface. There's a button that says Q&A. Please click that, put the questions in. If Genevieve and I can answer those questions in the background, we will. If not, we'll save them for Beth, and when she's done with the content, she'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes answering those questions. Your microphone and cameras, they are off. We can't see you. We can't hear you. So don't worry about it. We all know at most of your centers. In fact, if we do a demo and something catastrophic sounding doesn't happen in the background, we think something's up. So we completely understand that. But let's get started. I want to introduce Beth Cannon. Again, she's an international speaker, workshop presenter, and entrepreneur. She has been teaching and leading and motivating groups and teams for over 20 years. From the business of the education space to the fitness world, Beth's wide range of experience helps her to connect to a variety of audiences. Beth is a master level trainer registered with the Texas Early Childhood Professional Development System. And today, Beth is going to introduce the one-word exercise. And I think, Beth, you'll be happy to know we had a big meeting last week and we introduced this to our team.
I heard.
It was amazing. And I thought everybody would have the same word, which is like, I was going to make a joke, but I won't. We're doing serious stuff here. But it was a great exercise. I'm super excited for this. I'm still recovering from my Enneagram. Which I realized my wife has her hands full. And I realized that our employees had their hands full. So with that said, I will stop sharing and hand it over to you, Beth.
Okay.
Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to this.
Well, I'm excited to be here. So this is a super, super, super fun thing for us to get to talk about at the beginning of a year, right? Because it's a new year, it's new you. There's no time like the present to level up and figure out just who you want to be going into the new year. So again, I'm so thankful that you guys have invited me to come back. I love my friends at Kangaroo Time. We have a lot of fun together, and this is going to be no different. This is going to be great. So we've got 3 steps for you guys. So if you're a note taker, be a note taker. I love note takers. The teacher and me would love for you guys to take all of the notes that you can. So I created a guide for you that you can actually download. So if you go to BethCannonSpeaks.com/my1word, and there's a list there. There's a list of about 150 words, and then just kind of some little note taking that you can do as we are working through the webinar today. So let's go ahead and dive in. Why pick one word? So instead of a New Year's resolution, instead of making a long list of ideas and goals and things that you need to do to fix yourself every single year, you pick one word, and that's the concept. So I did this, I'm thinking it was about 10 years ago, is when I very first started the concept of my one word. Now, if you can see behind me, I've got a few of my words that I've chosen in the past, and I'm a visual person. I like to have objects for my object lessons, and so on occasion I've been able to actually find the word and buy the word and have the word in my office all year long. And one of those, my first word actually that I chose was simplify. At the time, my children were about 10, about 11 and 12, and life was busy. It felt like we were drinking out of a fire hydrant all the time. We were working on building our business. We were blowing and going and raising our family, and I just needed to simplify. So in that year, in that moment, I thought, okay, I need to stop with the same exact list of things that maybe I'll make some improvements and take a few steps forward in some areas, but then other areas I would just fail. And I'm an Enneagram 3. Scott brought up the Enneagram. That means that I'm an achiever, which means that I'm a goal setter, and it means that I'm a goal getter. And a lot of times I would have this really, really lofty New Year's resolution list, and then I would beat myself up and feel like a failure because there were always things on that list that I would intend to do, like I'm going to cook 7 healthy meals for my family every single day. There will not ever be any kind of mess at all in my house. My children will have their beds made every morning before they leave for school. Everything will look perfect when I leave the house. It'll be perfect when I come home. I'll have all the things organized, and I'll have this completely balanced life that is healthy in the spiritual, in the mental, in the emotional, in the physical, in the work world. Everything is going to be hitting all cylinders. And then, of course, life happens and no one's perfect, right? So picking one word helped me to kind of focus on who I wanted to become in the year rather than making a list of things that I may or may not get to. So if you're a New Year's resolution person and you nail them all the time, kudos, good for you. This might be something that will work for you, but I'm guessing that you're here because you're probably not a New Year's resolution person that kills it all the time when you set these lists. So picking one word, I want you to know this: change is possible, that focus is required. And focus actually was my 2020 word. In fact, I started the year with a Bible study by Christine Kane called 2020. I'm thinking 2020 vision. I had some big goals. I knew that I was going to focus on certain areas and really kill it in some areas. And then, of course, we know what all happened in 2020. And so my focus had to completely shift from what I thought it was going to look like in January 2020. And the kind of crazy cool thing about COVID and the pandemic is that we've all experienced together, everyone in the world. It's not regional. It did not discriminate by race. It did not discriminate by demographic. It didn't demonstrate by anything. We were all, some more than others, impacted by COVID. When we shut down, everything kind of went internal, and we really had to sit with ourselves and figure out, like, am I living the life that I want to live? Am I the person that I want to be? And so we had no choice but to change. I don't super love change. You probably don't either. But when COVID hit, we were forced to change. Everyone was forced to change. There's so many things that have changed, so many things that maybe we've grieved the loss of what was. But as we're moving forward, we know that we have to level up. We know that we have to come into a new year with our ready stance, armored up, ready to go for whatever this year brings, because we just don't know what to expect. So what I love about dreaming and thinking and focusing about going into the new year is this quote really kind of dials it in. As Scott mentioned, I'm a teacher. I've been in education. I've done lots of different things. But my life before kids, I was a school teacher. And my last job, I was a high school English teacher. I taught American literature. And I loved when we could talk about American history and American literature in the 1800s. And Ralph Waldo Emerson was one of my favorite authors to get to teach. And I've known this quote for years and years, but it is so perfectly applicable to where we are right now. And he said, the only person that you are destined to become is the person that you decided to be. I'm going to rewind that. I'm going to say that one more time. Maybe jot that down if you're a quote person. The person you are destined to become is the person that you decide to be. So in order to be who you want to be, you have to really be introspective. You really have to focus on who you are right now, maybe grieve what you've lost and look forward to the future. And I love the concept of the one word because it really helps you to think about that. It really helps you to focus on that. Now, most people have a very, very different calendar in January 2021 than we had in January 2020. And that is because so many of the things that we involved ourselves in, so many of the things that we were rushing to get from activity to activity and place to place and cram our kids' schedules packed full and our schedules were packed full. And we didn't say no to a lot of things. We didn't have a lot of balance. And life was just coming at us at like this breakneck speed. And all of that went away. And so what's so refreshing about where we are, if we don't focus on what we've lost, what we've gained is the opportunity to choose what to put back into our backpacks, right? What are the big rocks that you have put back on your plate? You know, big things like, you know, obviously your work, your family, some important relationships. And it's those smaller rocks, those rocks that kind of fill the gaps that you're choosing, like, do I need that rock in my life? Do I want that relationship in my life? Do I need that person on my team or in my work? So thinking about the person that you are right now might be different than the person that you want to be by the end of the year. And so how does choosing a one word get us to that? So here are some notes I would love for you guys to take, just to kind of a check-in that as 2020, and we're not really sad to see it go, has faded away. We're in 2021. Nothing magical happened. I don't know about you guys, but there was a meme that went around. And if I would have thought about it, I would have put it in the slide deck for today. And I think it was like Burt Reynolds making a toast. And then it said, well, that was a solid 5 days. Here's to 2022, because, you know, of course, 5 days into the year, complete chaos erupted. And we don't know what the next few weeks or the next few months are going to look like. So 2021 is here. And I think in order to really assess and evaluate where you want to go for this year, there's a few things that you need to do. So the first thing is I want you to remember, if you can, I know it seems like a million years ago, think back to what life was like prior to COVID. What was better and what was worse? I mentioned the schedules. I mentioned putting back just the big rocks and choosing what are those small rocks or those pebbles that kind of filled in all of the empty spaces. What about that was better and what about that was worse? I really have taken a calendar assessment. You know, I've really audited my calendar and audited the things that I want to do. And you know what? This year in 2021, I am only going to say yes to the things that absolutely fuel my soul. Helping people, getting to love on people, training people. I love teaching yoga just as kind of a side hustle. I love my business Stretch and Grow and my team. We're small but mighty and we're slowly growing. And so I've looked at the things that really and truly bring me joy. And it's amazing to see the things that did not get put back on my plate, how refreshing it is that some of those things aren't there. And so even though when they first went away, I was sad about it and kind of grieved that, I'm kind of happy about it now. And so I bet you have probably some things like that as well. So pre-pandemic state, where were you? Now your current state. This is where you evaluate what is working, what are you doing well, what's working well in your life. And then what's your opportunity for growth? And basically, that's a nice phrase for saying, What are you kind of sucking at right now? Like, what is not going well? What are the crummy parts of your life, the crummy parts of your current state that just aren't working? And I'm giving you these little tidbits because this is going to help you funnel out to help you realize what you want to kind of see manifested in your life as you choose this one word. So again, make lists of the things that right now today are working really well, and then what's not working really well. Honestly, with our business is down, we're down close to about 75 to 80%. And I miss so many parts of running that larger business. But because our team is a little bit smaller, I get an opportunity to have closer relationships with the ones that I have. Because we're in fewer schools, I have an opportunity to just get to focus on building those relationships and on building those teams. So what does that look like for you? And then your ideal state. I want you to dream. I want you to plan. I want you to take some downtime and really dream. Who do you want to be? What do you want that to look like? This is a great team exercise. So if you are a leader in the early childhood space or wherever it is that you're listening, I'm assuming that you're somehow connected to early childhood because you're on a Kangaroo Time webinar, but maybe you're a leader, maybe you're a teacher. I know Scott mentioned that their team did this exercise as well. And it's neat to see how you take the things from your business life, from your personal life, and you kind of all bring it together, because I do not think there is a big line between who you are at work and who you are in real life. And honestly, I mean, boundaries are great. Don't get me wrong. I think boundaries are great. But honestly, if you can show up as your most authentic self in whatever environment you're in, you're going to thrive because that's who you are. And you don't have to pretend. You don't have to put on a game face just because you're having a team meeting. Being real and authentic is something I think that we really, really learned during COVID, is that realness and holding space for the reality of what is really not working is very, very healthy. And I've seen it not just in women who are generally, maybe more communicative with their emotional state, but even in so many of the men that I see work in this space, even in my own life and in my husband. We work together, we've been business partners for a long, long time. And you just have to get real with where you are. So your ideal state, you're going to take where you are now, and then who will you become when you make these changes that you want to make. And there's three areas really that you'll make those changes. It's in your physical health and how much you're moving your body, what you're putting in your body. It's your mental, your emotional, your spiritual health. How well are you taking care of your mind and your soul? And then I think it's in your time, like how you choose to organize your time. So who will you become when you make those changes? And then what does your life look like when you release the things that no longer serve you? If you have things in your life, maybe it's a thing, maybe it's a person, maybe it is an unhealthy employee that is continuing to cause some issues on your team. What if there are some things that you need to release, some things that don't serve you? Think in terms of employee management. I can say right now, knock on all the wood and praise Jesus, that right now I can tell you on my team, I don't have a C team member. We always say you're on the A team, B team, or C team. My team, they are A's. I've got a few B pluses, but I'm telling you, they are really, really working to level up. And it is so, so refreshing to realize the level of peace that I have in trusting that when I release my team out into the world, that to let them go work with our kids, that they are doing what they're called to do, and they're doing it with joy, and they're doing it with integrity, and they're teaming up for the kids. And so that, like, for a leader, I know that is absolutely solid gold. So I hope that's where you are. If you've got people on your team right now that are just not team players, would you be sad if that person wasn't here by the end of the year? And maybe those are some changes that you need to make in order to release some things that don't serve you. Maybe that means people. Maybe that means relationships, but only you know what that means. I wish that we were sitting around a table, or if it was a small group, that we're sitting on my couch and we're having this conversation. It's so hard just talking to a screen, because I would really love to know where you guys are. Like, what are your thoughts on some of the things that you need to release so that you can become who you want to become? And I want you to think in terms of this statement, okay? I want to blank so that I can blank. Let me give you an example. think in terms of your physical health. I will confess I'm super mad at myself because I gained weight during the quarantine. I said back months ago, I'm going to stay active and I'm going to still continue to eat right so that my pants will fit when this is over. Well, guess what, guys? The fall came and the holidays came and my pants are tight. I don't have a scale in my house. I do not get on a scale because I don't think they're healthy in some ways. And so I don't have one in my house. And so I just happened to stand on the scale and I was mortified. I've gained some weight and I'm not happy with that weight. I have not seen that number on the scale in a long time. It's not a lot of weight. I mean, it's 5 pounds, but you know what? I did not want to gain 5 pounds because 5 pounds make my pants tight. So my I want to so that I can statement is I want to fit in my pre-quarantine pants, or let me take that back. I want to lose 5 pounds so that I can fit into my pre-quarantine pants. So whatever it is for you, what do you want to do so that you can have the freedom to do something else? I want to be more intentional about my time blocking, my blocking of my time when I'm at work, so I can sit down and say, okay, I'm going to work on our Leaders Lounge Summit from 9 to 12 on Thursday because I want to go to a yoga class at 4:30 on Thursday afternoon. And if I get all of my work done and I've been intentional about that, I can have the freedom to go to a yoga class so that I can help to lose that 5 pounds that I would like to lose. So think of what I want to blank so that I can blank. And that might help you land on your word as well. So here are the steps. I'm going to give you guys 3 steps. Okay. So if you're a note taker and you're a number, this is step number 1 of 3. Decide who you want to be in the new year. So I gave you some questions to kind of ask yourself about that. So here is the next step. I want you to think. If you're a person of faith, you're going to pray, you're going to journal, you're going to ask the questions. You're going to go deeper than just the surface, beyond, being healthy, wealthy, and wise. I want you to search your heart really and think about what realities you hope to experience in your life, in your relationships, and in your career. So decide who you want to be in the new year. I've got back here some of my words, and a few years back, I had the word faith, and I was struggling with some doubt, not really doubting that my faith was real, but just questioning, bad things happen to good people. And that's a super hard thing to have to process. And so I needed the word faith to kind of go back and kind of keep me anchored, because I didn't want to go into that year being someone who doubted. So think about who you want to become. When you get to the end of this year, what are some things that you just really want to let go of? And journal. Think, pray, journal, ask your friends. And then the second step, what are the key attributes of that version of you? So think of this. How can you respond and not react? And by that, I mean, in life, and think about in your very closest relationships in life. How can you respond and not react? I'm going to be super honest with you guys. My husband and I work together at home. And normally my job generally pre-COVID was out. I was out all the time. I would get up, I would go see my school, visit my staff, do staff lunches, shop some. And all of a sudden, all of that went away and we were home together. So because I was going through a lot of internal, really kind of grieving the loss of what life had been before the quarantine, I became a little bit grouchy, and I didn't like the way that I was just reacting rather than responding. And so I really had to go back and think, okay, that's not who I want to be. So what are some things that I can take into this year so I become a person that responds with kindness and with grace and with gentleness and with mercy and with patience to keep the most important relationships in my life healthy? Not just your most important relationships, but also, again, your work, your other relationships, your friends and your family. All of those things are important because nobody wants to be grouchy. Nobody wants to know that people are walking on eggshells around you. So maybe there are some things in the way that you've been reacting and responding to situations that you know that you need to maybe take inventory of and find out if you can engage with your people from a level of peace rather than a level of just being kind of bogged down in the emotions of everything that's happened, of everything that's going on. So in processing all 3 areas of your life, like I said, the physical, the mental, spiritual, emotional, and then of course, the way that you choose to live your time. And then finally, Here's your third step. Choose a word that inspires you. Okay. I am big, big, big on inspiration. In fact, when I sit down to create something, I need an inspiring space to do it. When I want to meet with my team, I don't want us to just go meet at some fast food restaurant or something like that. I want us to find a cute place that's got, great art or a great patio or some place that's inspiring, because we're going to brainstorm and we're going to generate ideas. And I want that space to be inspiring. I'm redoing my office right now because you know what? I want it to be inspiring. We are people that need that kind of inspiration. So do you know what inspires you? Do you know what you like? Do you know what you enjoy? So when you dial into the attributes of what you hope to become, simply choose a word that brings you some inspiration. Okay, so ignore the noise of you trying to fix everything about you and instead just focus on one word. See, that's what resolutions do so often, is they cause us to focus on everything that we want to fix about ourselves. And the truth is, we all need a little bit of fixing, but there are also great things in you. There are good habits that you have. There are good attitudes that you have. There are good ways that you have. There are some good systems that you have. Find the good. Choose to think about what inspires you. Words have so much power. The words that you speak over your children, the words that you speak over your relationships in your life. If you are a leader, the words you speak over your employees. If you're a teacher, the words you speak over your children, not just the words, but also the tone of your words. Your words have so much power. And I think sometimes we don't realize that, especially when we get into, you choosing the grind over the gratitude. And then we just kind of go low with our words and we focus on what is negative. We focus on the junk, the crud, the crap of 2020. It was a lot of junk. But guys, yesterday, that is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, right? So you have to focus on today, choosing words that inspire you today, because we don't know how this whole pandemic is going to play out, right? Nobody knows. We don't have any way of knowing what the next steps are coming. We don't have any way of knowing what's going to happen in our country politically or with the economy or with the virus. There's so many things that are different, but this is where you can make an impact right now. You choose your word. You get to decide who you want to become, who you want to inspire, and then you make steps every single day to bring grace and peace and mercy and love right to where you are. Because I want you to think, you all have an impact on children, right? And so think about those kids. We don't know how the pandemic is going to have long-term effects on our children. There's no way to know. There's no research. We haven't been here long enough. We just truly don't know how the impact of so many things are going to affect our kids. But this is the thing. They will not probably remember being in daycare during a pandemic, but they might remember how you as teachers made them feel. If you are a teacher, you might remember how your director made you feel, or you might remember how those parents made you feel. What you can do right now is make a positive impact on whoever is in your sphere. Choose love, choose joy, choose compassion, choose to be intentional, which is a great word. I have 3 friends that have chosen the word intentional. They want to be intentional about the way they love on people. So maybe that's an inspiration for you, is to think about the word intentional. But when you are intentional about creating that community and being kind and compassionate and nurturing to the people that are in your sphere, you know what you're going to do? You're going to make this really crazy time in our world and in our country better for the people that you have an influence on, better for the people that you get to make an impact to. I know, with all of this, that, everything that happened back in March, I think it was probably about April, maybe May, when I was introduced to Kangaroo Time through my friend Evelyn Knight, and we've collaborated on several different projects here and there. And one of the things that I love about their culture, it's just been a culture to help, and it wasn't just we got to sell, we got to sell, we got to sell, we got to sell. All of you have some sort of business. I mean, you're in childcare, maybe you're a provider, maybe you're a trainer. What happened was I saw the people who are truly thriving now not go into we just have to survive mode during COVID. You know what they did? They went to serve. They weren't trying to just survive. They just said, we don't know what to do. We don't know what's happening. 0 people know what's happening. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to serve. And whatever happens out of this service, I'm going to leave that up to God, to the universe, whatever your beliefs are on that. But I believe that when you go into this with the right heart, you set your intention for the year with the right heart, and then you leave the results up to whatever happens. Leave the results to God. Leave the results to the world. But you go into it with the right heart. You're going to make an impact, and you are going to be changed from the inside out. So these are some of the words that will inspire you. I hope that you printed out that list. If not, you go to, it's BethCannonSpeaks.com/my1word. And there's 150 words here. And some of my words that I've used over the years are here. Like I said, I told you about faith and embrace. No, I didn't tell you about embrace. Embrace is one of my words. I told you about faith, simplify, and focus. Embrace, I've used peace, promise, purpose. Let's see, what's another word? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Oh, root. The word root is what I had for 2019. And that was a little bit of a crazy word. That ended up being, I just kind of wanted to get to the root of why I felt the way I did or why I acted the way that I did. It ended up turning out being that my family tree had more roots than I thought, because my husband bought me a 23andMe kit that year before, and I ended up finding out that I had 2 twin cousins who my uncle was their father, and they were adopted at birth, and that was a little bit scandalous, but it grew our family, and it ended up having a really positive impact on my cousins, who gained twin sisters 60 years later. So let these words inspire you. So print out those words, and then I want to tell you about my word for 2021. It is content. In fact, one of my best friends just brought me over this little bracelet. I don't know if you guys can see that little bracelet that says content. And that was the word that I landed on for 2020. And let me just kind of tell you how I arrived at that. And then I would love for you guys to type in the chat. I can't see the chat yet, but as soon as I quit sharing my screen, I hope to pop it up and see if you guys have chosen a word. I'd love to know what your words are. But mine is content. And so when I think about all the things that I just taught you, like what I want to see manifested in this year coming up, I needed more contentment, because you guys, I was not happy with how things went in 2020. Now, a lot of great came out of it, and I have learned to look at the beauty of the downtime. I've learned to look at the beauty of dumping out all of the rocks and only putting back in the rocks that are super important to me. But I need my heart to be content. I came to learn that if I'm supposed to have something, I'll have it. If I'm supposed to have people, I'll have them. If I'm supposed to have an experience, I'll have it. And if I'm not, I am okay with where I sit right now. I am okay with that contentment, because guess what? If I was supposed to be in that room, I'd be in that room. Wasn't supposed to be in that room because I wasn't there. Same thing with you. If you're supposed to be in a relationship, be in a job, be wherever. If you're meant to be there and you're making the right choices, you're going to be there. Right? You're going to be there. And if you're not there, then there's something else for you. And so, because I don't know what's coming in 2021, so I am going to choose gratitude, and I'm going to choose contentment. So I'm a big mood board creator. So I created this mood board. I'm going to print it out because, like I mentioned earlier, I need things that are inspiring. I want you to pick a word that is inspiring. And then when you pick a word that is inspiring, pick images or things that are inspiring. Like, for example, I love yoga. I love to, and for me, it's almost like a worship practice. I love listening to inspirational music. I love working really hard. The hotter the room, the better for me. I like to just really sweat buckets, work really hard, and then at the end, just surrender and just get on my mat and just let it go. It feels so good for me. It's good for my body. It's good for my soul. So I love that. I love to journal. I love to write. I'm a big journaler, and it's really served me very well in my life. I want things more organized in my life. I want my spaces to be clean and clear and inspiring, so that I can get all the clutter out and really focus on some things that bring me joy. So content is the word that I chose for 2021. And as you know, whatever word you pick, if you've never done this before, I do want to give you a fair warning. you are going to have no short of opportunities to live into your word. So if you pick the word, let's say you pick the word discipline. I did this training earlier today, and one of my directors at a church preschool here in the Dallas area, she goes, my word's going to be discipline. I'm like, oh, girl, you're going to have so many opportunities to have to exercise discipline. I said, what areas do you want to be disciplined in? And she said, well, I eat terrible, I don't exercise, and I'm completely disorganized. And I'm like, ooh, oh dear, that's a lot. That's a lot of discipline. But you know what? She's committed to it. She's like, I don't know that the word inspires me, but I know that in this year, I have got to get better. So even if I can take small steps, I am going to choose to get better. So she chose discipline. And then we do have a course on this. It's just $12. It's on our website, and it comes with, there's teaching, there's a training video. You do get a certificate. It's great for team building. And then you get like 30 Canva templates. So if you wanted to like create a screen lock, create a vision board like the one that I just did, I love to do that. And directors, you can do it for your staff. It's great team building. Like Kangaroo Time mentioned, they did it with their team. So super fun for that. And then you can find me at BethCannonSpeaks.com on Facebook. And then what I am super excited about is our Leaders Lounge coming up. Scott is going to be one of our speakers on that as well. And that is an online experience that we have coming up here at the end of February. So that is going to be a lot of fun. So that was a lot of stuff, Scott. Are you there?
I muted myself.
Okay, there you go.
I'm not very content with muting my. No, by the way, so I think it's Dave Ramsey that says contentment is the #1 financial principle, and I've always loved that. I felt like on the contentment side, if you are really actualized and if you are really content, you don't make poor purchasing decisions. You don't stretch in your emotional life. Like contentment is one of those things that if you can reconcile it in your life, I think it's one of the best cheat codes for well-being, for whatever. I love it. Do you want to know my word for the year?
Give it.
Okay, so with all that's going on in our country, with all that's going on with what I perceive as like leadership, the one area where I think I need to really double down is in the area of stewardship. So this year, I think about it, we've gone over 40 employees at Kangaroo Time. We're growing super fast.
Yay, that's awesome.
We're really happy. But more than anything, I think of my job as a CEO or as the crazy guy that started all this, to not only provide for our employees, but also our customers. You know, I think that stewardship is so important. And I think about leadership, be it in our country, be it from our elected officials. If we could all just lean into doing what's best for the people that we serve, and back to what you said, Beth, that concept of servitude and leading with that, I just think that it creates so much buy-in. It creates like this viral loop of servitude. You know, the people that you are serving, they will recognize that, and be it for my family, be it for my wife, be it for our wonderful employees, and more importantly, our great customers. This year, 2021, is where I lead with stewardship. So, in everything I do, every email I write, I'm thinking first about how I serve others.
That's awesome, because again, it's the way that people will feel after they've had an interaction, either with you personally or with your brand or with your employees. And I think, you know, for our ECE world, if you still have children in your center, it's because you made those parents feel safe. You made those parents feel like they can trust you by bringing their children to you. Now, have there been cases? A ton of cases. But you know what? You've done, as good as you can do to protect those kids, to sanitize, to keep things safe. And you've provided this loving, nurturing, and comforting environment so that those parents could go back to work and continue to take care of their families. And so that's the biggest gift ever, is just knowing that in the midst of all this chaos, there are people who love and take care of my kids. And there's no better feeling for a parent.
100%. And Beth, we've gotten some. So Kathy Gray, one of my dear friends, love you, Kathy. She said her words this year are balance and joy. And I see another one. Genevieve actually said joy is hers. That component, again, back to well-being, celebrating joy, just breaking down and recognizing those joyful moments.
Yeah.
Sounds ridiculous, but it can be such a challenge in our day to day, especially when you live within a year that's been weighed down by such a heavy, a global health crisis.
A joy hijacking experience for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just that, like, I think we all owe it to ourselves to really double down on joy this year. Like that concept. Sit down and watch a YouTube video that makes you cry in a good way. Do that every day if you can, because you deserve that joy. And it's such an important part of growing your personal well-being, growing your personal brand, growing your knowledge base. Joy, yeah, do it. And Beth, I told you I'm getting ready for your
Leaders Lounge.
Your Leaders Lounge. There we go. I knew it was an L word. And I get so much joy out of doing the research and getting ready for these things, because you get to learn so much. But yeah, I love that. All right, a couple of quick questions. You've given some examples. Root was really interesting. When you said it, I thought, okay, what is this? Like, is this a dig on me because I'm starting to get gray hair? What's going on here? Are there any other words that or was there an inflection in this entire process where you had a word, you really kept it top of mind? Can you give us some examples of a few other words that have been great?
I mean, root was most definitely the most transformational, and that goes deep. Again, I mean, I'm a person of faith, so I want to be mindful for anyone watching that this is kind of a foreign thing to them. But from my perspective, the word root kept coming up in my Bible study, like in my quiet time when I would read. And it was more in, like the trees with the roots planted by the water. And, and of course, the analogy of, God is the living water. And when you're closer to God, you've got stronger roots. So when the wind comes, you're stronger, right? And then, of course, that was 2019, and he knew what was coming in 2020. So I felt like I needed to really double down on my faith, get serious about, studying, and then again, refine some of those rough parts of my heart that needed to go, like, that root, also the root of bitterness. Like, I would be, maybe sometimes a little bit hard to let go of things. Kind of hang on to a little bit of bitterness. And I didn't want to be that person. And so I wanted to be able to release and to surrender the things that I can't control. So it had a lot of layers to it. But it was probably the most transformational word for sure. And then the word embrace. I had that in 2016 when my first child left for college, and I needed to embrace this new season of life because I was so close to my daughter, and to not have her live in my house, I was not ready for how sad I was going to be. And that was really, really hard for me. And now that both of my kids are grown and flown, I miss them every single day. And they're in Waco. I mean, they're 73 miles away. They're not that far. But, it's just embracing seasons that come and go.
I love that. So for one, I think this is a great exercise to do year to year, because we're all evolving as professionals. We're all evolving personally. Like you said, that empty nest concept, it sneaks up on you. How the heck do your kids go from diapers to all of a sudden you're getting like one phone call a week and you're begging them to call you, but you're trying to play it cool and embrace is perfect. That brings about my next question. We did this to kick off our annual sales meeting, and
Okay.
this was a great exercise. We did it first thing in the morning. Everybody was a little tired. It stoked engagement. Any suggestions on how you roll this out to your team, or like when are those great timing moments to do that?
Well, exactly what you did, Scott. The very first meeting, of the year, of the new year, January is such a great time to do it because you set the tone for what the year is going to look like. But also, too, it gives you an opportunity to get to hear the hearts and the motivation behind your team. They're no longer just the person who does marketing or the person who opens the doors and the first door opener of the day or the closer or whatever. They're no longer their position at their job. They're real people with real experiences, with real goals and intentions and things that they want to work on. And so, and also when you like come right out and say, my word is stewardship, you know what that means? That means people are going to be looking to see, are you living into that? Genevieve said her word is joy. People are going to try to hijack her joy, and they're going to remember that she said her word was with joy. So she's going to have to come back with a smile on her face, right? And just and find that joy, because when you say that's going to be your word, like I said, there's going to be no shortage of opportunities for you to live into that word. So if your word is peace, you can be certain that there's going to be opportunities for you to lose your peace. Right? If you say stewardship, there's probably going to be an abundance of opportunities to serve. So much so that you might have to choose, like, which way do I serve? Because serving people is not necessarily a bad thing, but what are those opportunities? So you get an opportunity to get to know your people. You get to hold your people accountable. But also, too, I think when people know where your heart is, and if you've been a little bit humble to say, this is where I need some work, or this is where I want to level up, people are watching you. And if people are watching you, you generally are a little more accountable to make better choices, right?
That's a great point. This is also an area where you can show vulnerability
Yes.
to the people that you work with. Again, I told my team that I'd figured out in 2020 that I'd probably oversubscribed to like being heads down at work and just went into some real vulnerability. And halfway through it, I'm thinking, does everybody on my team need to know what a scumbag I am? Really? Like, do they need to know? But as we were kind of working through it, then the team started to open up, and I realized we're all scum. No, just kidding. We just all had those vulnerable moments,
Yeah.
and that connectivity, that accountability, for all of us that are trying to level up, it's so critical.
Yeah. And vulnerability is so key to connection. And as leaders, we think we can't be vulnerable with our team because you show weakness. And if you show a weakness, then there's a hole and someone's going to take advantage of that. And those are just, those are just lies. And if that's the kind of people you have on your team and that's your concern, they don't need to be on your team, right? They need to go. Vulnerability creates connection. And if you've never tried it, I would encourage you guys to let this year be the year that you let people see a little bit into your heart and into your soul and what you're all about. Because if they're the right people in the right seats, it's going to be a fabulous team connection opportunity, I think.
That's amazing. And Beth, if there's ever been a year to where I think we all need that boost in human connection and to be able to allow others to see our vulnerability, to leverage the love that we get and the grace that we get from other people. It's been this year. But as always, you crushed it. Thank you. And real quick, I want to share something super fast before we jump off and I give my kisses goodbye. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so you see the schedule here. Hey,
Yes.
so guys, we've just launched our staff management platform, and we're super excited about it. We know many of you use Kangaroo Time, and you use something like When I Work or Sling or Homebase, and you pay, $3 per employee per month for these platforms or a certain amount. One of the things we're doing for our current customers, we're giving away our new staff management platform for an extended period of time because we know that many of you are ramping back up and more than ever acquiring top level, best employees in the world, staff is going to be a big part of how you differentiate your business this year. So please take a look at our staff management platform. By the way, you can see the UI UX. Our design team has done a beautiful job on it. It includes with it a kiosk that allows your employees to clock in and clock out. We've always had this capability at Kangaroo Time, but we've just gone the next level. So this will do all the work for you when it comes to scheduling and staffing your rooms. As your enrollments go up, you will need pinpoint precision when it comes to staff.
That's awesome.
So yeah, please reach out to us. We're offering this for free right now for a limited time, and we'd be happy to hear your feedback as you use it and bring it forward. Also, we have a number of new products. A big product launch we had a couple weeks ago was our agency/subsidy platform. So we feel like we have built a magical tool for those of you that might have transitioned or pivoted your business to taking subsidies. We've always known that we are the best at managing a revenue cycle with parent payments, but we've leveled up. We really like what we've done with our subsidy platform. So please let us know if we can help you with that. Above and beyond everything, this was our first webinar this year. We're super excited about our webinar series. And Beth, I'm honored to have you kick off our maiden voyage in 2021. If joy is your word this year, we have just gotten so much joy from connecting with all of you in the early education world, and the feedback and the encouraging stories and what we all went through to procure our PPP money and grants and stay afloat and all the tools.
Here we go again.
Yeah, here we go. And we are all here for each other. And more than anything this year, I'm proud of what we've done as a team. Beth, you and I, our group of folks that have come together to share content. And for those of you that are regulars that are on these webinars and can carve out the time, we love you and we really appreciate you giving us that time. But get ready. Not only is Beth's Leaders Lounge going to be great, we are going to continue to do content each and every month. So thank you all for joining us. Beth, thank you again. Your content is always great. And if you've gained any weight, it hasn't been it's not at all.
It's not where you can see it.
Yeah, exactly. You look great. And thank you so much for the content. Everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and stay tuned. We've got a lot of great content coming in 2021. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks for all your comments, guys. I've read them all, and I'm excited for you guys. Can't wait to see how your words manifest in your life.
Take care, everybody.